Good morning, everybody. So, so last night I had like mucus, like my nose was stuffed up last night. And then this morning when I woke up, I blew everything out of my nose and I'm great. So, me being exposed to my husband, I'm sure that my body was in touch with a pathogen it didn't recognize. It built the antibodies, inflammation, so mucus does happen, and then the body gets rid of it every morning. Just like when you have a perfectly working system in your body, like my dog does and like I do, because usually my dog will poop in the morning. She hasn't today. She usually, I guess now she's pooping like towards later on, like 10 or 11. But usually in the morning, everything is out of my system. I blow my nose, I poop, pee, all that stuff, and I just get ready for the day and do what I got to do. So, yeah, and so me being exposed to my husband's sickness, I'm not going to come down with crazy long-term inflammation to where you see a change in my voice or you see that I don't feel like getting on Facebook Live because I'm sick and wanting to nurse myself. No, it happens overnight when you sleep. See, when you sleep, when you're sleeping, your body goes through a major processing of everything of the day before. Because when your body like goes to sleep, like narcolepsy, or when you have chronic fatigue syndrome, or when you have hormonal fluctuations, well, your body, first of all, yeah, you may have an imbalance in your melatonin, whether either you're insomniac or you're sleeping so much because your body's trying to repair from the damage. See, when you sleep too much, it's an imbalance in your system is trying to repair. When you don't sleep enough, you have an imbalance to where your body's not even able to really rest and you're not giving it what it needs. And so there is a specific balance of the body where you sleep between 6 to 7 to 8 hours a night so your body can repair. You'll wake up bright and early, ready for the day, so you can take on and utilize your hormones in the areas that make sense. You don't overuse your hormones so you don't age and tax yourself so much. But if you do, then you repair the damage. And that's how it is that we have to think if we want to prolong our life. I'm not saying living forever, but prolong your life. Okay? So for all of you that are health conscious out there, because there are people that are out there that they're not health conscious. They don't care. They rather just live by the seat of their pants, react to everything. There are people that are okay with all of the shortcuts out there. They're not worried about the vaccines, not because they're doing J juice, because they're not going to do anything else and they want some level of protection that they're not willing to do for themselves. Okay. People that pop pills all the time. So there are people that don't really care. They don't mind dying at maybe age 75. So I'm not even speaking to those people because those people wouldn't even, they wouldn't be doing J juice at all anyway. So it's irrelevant to those types. Those of you that are health conscious, that are in the conspiracy world, that are an anti-vaxxer, that are like GMO versus organic, totally beating the war drums as far as the environment and all of that. This is something to think about. It's not that they're poisoning you because they've been doing the same stuff for many years. The ingredients in these cereals, the ingredients in all of these name brands haven't really changed. I mean, there's something to be said for tradition. So why is it that we are now more sensitive? Our kids are more sensitive because we're more mutated, okay? And when you have more mutations and more sensitivities, your environment is going to then trigger issues. But it's not the environment's fault. But we're going to start seeing some changes out there because the system and the different companies are going to try to accommodate their customer base. But they still have to do certain processes. They still have to utilize certain types of minerals. I'm not even say chemicals, because when you say chemicals, that has a whole connotation. It has a whole perception that people use the word chemical to scare the shit out of people. No, they're using certain minerals, certain conglomeration of minerals to be able to process a food or create a type of food that people like, to be able to preserve certain foods that people like. Okay, they use certain mineral conglomerations. Okay, so you can't get away from mineral conglomerations that have specific purposes. And yeah, if you have a balance to your body, and yes, you have negative elements like trace minerals that are part of your body, then you have positive elements like the electrolytes in the air and the water, okay? You're going to be fine being around those mineral conglomerations that may happen to be in your cereal. If you're eating cereal and you have a mineral conglomeration, well, if you're well balanced, that cereal is not going to hurt you. Okay? So now we have to figure out, you guys that are health conscious, why is it that every generation is sustaining more mutations? Now, people say, oh yeah, it's vaccines. No, it's not the vaccines. The vaccines are a reflection of your environment, reflection of the mutating strains that are out there that are being passed down from mother to child, as well as out there in the environment. Okay? No, it's reproduction on mutations. See, if we actually fix the mutations, we probably wouldn't be reproducing as much. Okay? The fact that we're reproducing at an exponential level, even though they say, oh yeah, the fertility rates are down, well, that could be a myriad of things. It's definitely not health. It could be the fact that there are certain conglomeration of minerals or drugs that are out there that may attack the reproductive system and shut it down. But we are still seeing people having 3, 4, 5 kids. IVF is happening all the time. People are doing IVF. Okay, we have kids from third world countries needing adopting because there's countries out there, yes, that are having babies and they can't take care of them and they're in orphanages. Okay, or the mothers are drug addicts. Okay, so it's like, it's not like we have any shortage of children to raise. All right. So if we actually got our health 95%, I say 100% because, I mean, how do you even quantify 100%? There's no really way to do that because we're always coming into contact with elements that are not friendly to us. But 95%, I mean, if you see a reversal in all of your situations and your issues, at least 95%, you're really on the right track. So most likely you're not going to really be focusing so much on nesting and having your biological clock ticking, like thinking like, oh, I'm 45 years old, I should have a baby before I die. No, you'll just be doing what you do. You'll be doing what you love. What if it's your job? Maybe you already have kids, so that's not even going to be, anything that you're going to worry about. But like for myself, okay, I know I'm going to live for a while. My biological clock is not ticking. Yes, I am 45. Okay, I haven't had any kids at all. So I'll just keep living my life, trying to figure out how to perfect everything that I'm doing to where it's like that. Okay, so you'll be following whatever dreams that you're going to be doing. All did that. And we took our kids down that same road to where they're not worried about procreating, worried about getting married and having a bunch of children. But then some of you are part of these different religious groups that love babies and love reproduction and love all of that. But with reproduction comes mutations. So when people take, like offense to my information because of their religion, when I say that reproduction comes from mutations, automatically in their head, because they like reproduction, which automatically then yeah, you're going to trigger a mutation. If you want reproduction, they're going to kind of do this protocol half-assed. It's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy for those that still believe that reproduction is like the wonderful, most bestest thing. They're going to make sure they sabotage themselves from being 95 to 99% healthy because they still want to have children. They want their children to have children. But what's going to happen is when you're in that line of thought where you're like, oh, Jillian's full of shit because this doesn't align with my religion, they're going to be sabotaging their future generations, and they're going to be sustaining mutations, and they're not going to correct them either. They're going to stay with their traditions. So, but then we can't legislate morals. We can't force somebody to be like, hey, you got to have good health. So we're not even speaking to them either anyways. It's those that really care about their health. So this is another thing too, the whole thing with animal experimentation. I mean, I posted a bunch of screenshots of the 40 reasons why they do animal experiments, okay? And most of them come from biotech. So when you have people who are diabetic, you have people who have a lot of health issues that need drugs. Guess who they have to experiment on first? First it's yeast, then they transfer it to some living being such as a rat or a cat or a dog, and then eventually to a human. That's the progression of these drug developments in biotech. First it's yeast, because that's the most prevalent, most similar organism cell that's like the human DNA and like the animal DNA. And then they go and test it on actual living entities. So again, we can't legislate morals out there. We can't tell people who are completely diabetic and full of prescription drugs to just be healthy so you can stop animal experimentation. Sorry, guys. Now, if you are a health conscious person, go and exemplify. Don't worry about if your family follows you. Don't worry about if people around you do what you do. You be the example of somebody that is in 99.999% health, and that you are maintaining your beautiful age of what you would look like as 30, but maybe you're like 70 and you look 30. See, time is only going to tell. Time is going to be on our side. Because those that are taking the pills, powders, and supplements and prescription drugs and the detoxes and playing the politics, they're going to be degrading. You're already seeing it in the chemtrail activists. We got a lot of chemtrail activists that are falling from their diseases because they're so worried about the chemtrails. They're not paying attention to their bodies. So you're seeing them degrade. So you are going to be standing the test of time. You have to be that example. It's not about pounding this information in people's heads. You give people the option, like what I did today, which, I risked it. At first, I was like, I don't want to do it. But somebody asked, what book should I be reading before, oh my God, they're going to censor us because they're still worried about the whole thing with Amazon and the censorship. And I put, read my book. I have a book that's controversial. It's already been tested as a safe product through a lab. Go look at the Dr. Phil, go Google me, but everything that I have in this book, the recipe, is safe. And then I turn off the notifications. Like I said, I don't answer questions on Facebook. If you want to watch my YouTube videos or my Facebook Live, feel free. And that's it. Turn off notifications so I don't get any flack. So I don't have to feel like I have to respond. That's the only way that I drop seeds without getting caught up in being attacked and feeling like, oh my God, I'm aligned. Because I know the climate out there. I know the world that I live in. Okay. But I still drop seeds, but I don't let those seeds germinate into like a mutated type of fruit where I'm now going back and forth with all these trolls. No, I just leave the information there, and those that get it will, those that won't, it doesn't even matter. Okay. And so that's how I'm able to drop seeds without being invested that this person gets it. Good morning, Kathy. So it really is being the example, because yes, I want to see all of you guys that are in your 70s and 80s or 60s reverse the hands of time to where you look like you did in your 30s. I really do, because that is going to be the evidence. All right. They already have all these cures out there because of biotech experimenting on animals and babies and people and whatever. And so it's not going to be really any surprise when someone says, "Oh yeah, I cured my diabetes with this, or I did something with this." I mean, when you say that J juice helped my indigestion, that doesn't really say too much. That's like, okay, people take things for indigestion all the time and they say, "Oh yeah, it helped my indigestion." That's not profound. What's profound is when you're 70 and you look like you're 30, when you have a major, not even a cancer, because cancer is easily curable. People do cancer cures all the time, but they're not yet FDA approved. And it's really dangerous for those that haven't tested themselves to see if they can acquire all those antibodies. Because yes, if you can afford to take on THC antibodies and you're not at a deficit of cells that you can afford to take on more natural killer cells, then yeah, I can see somebody's cancer numbers, disappear. Chemotherapy can also put somebody in remission. So not saying and to discount those that have reversed or said they reversed their cancer with J juice, but we now are looking for something more profound than just reversing your symptoms. Now it's taking it to the next level. Okay? We really do have to take it to the next level, because right now they're coming up with cures all the time, and it's not like we're competing, but it's not going to resonate. And so that's why it's really incumbent upon you to really get to know your own audience, show them kind of the succession, or your family. They see that, hey, yeah, my name is Kathy and I'm 60 something years old, and in like 3 years I turned the hands of time back and now I look like I'm 35. Okay, this is what I want to see, but it's going to take time. And then, I mean, as far as myself, I mean, I'm 2.5, 3, almost 3 years into this. It'll be 3 years in October, and I see a major marked difference. I don't see myself aging at all. If anything, I'm seeing my white hairs come out of my head. I'm seeing the changes in my strands of hair where they're half white and half brown. Okay, and so, and sometimes, like in the middle of the night when I'm listening to like YouTube and I'm listening to like Elvis, and I hear some music like, I'm walking in Memphis, it brings back some weird memories. Like just like wow. It's not even like depressed, but like it's like, wow. Time, I mean, those are memories from like way back when. And it's, what's going to happen is when you are around for a long time and you're watching your friends like drop like flies or age rapidly, you're like, damn, it's kind of lonely out there when you are by yourself. And you're not even by yourself, but you know that you are the only one living your life. We all have our own lives going on, but we all kind of come together. Hey, Janie, we all kind of come together on Facebook and just, share back and forth our experiences. But when in the middle of the night, when you're listening to music from way back in the 1960s, 1950s, 1980s, and it's like 2050, and you're just like, dude, everybody that I know is like, passing away. So that's why you need to keep your circle understanding J juice, because you got to have the people in your life. I mean, I'm not going to be in Santa Cruz all the time. Maybe I might visit Kathy in Santa Cruz. Maybe I might go visit, Kevin in Belgium one day. Maybe I might go visit certain people, but really we all have our own home space, and when you rely so much on the internet to kind of give you that, you got to have people in your world, but maybe you move then next to people that are doing the J juice. Okay. So you can be around people who are going to be around for a while, because it can be rather I mean, I felt that feeling, what it would be like, when I'm listening to music from way back when, and fast forward 10 to 20 years, it's like, dude, my sister's gone, my friend's gone, everyone that I knew in the lifetime of Jason when I was married in Ohio, they're all gone. I mean, that's a sobering thought. And it was a sobering thought this morning. It really was. Just listening to Elvis, because I'm listening to like the last 24 hours of Elvis, and I love Elvis's music. I went to the Legends in concert down in Mississippi in the Redneck Riviera, and they had those those impersonators that sing the different songs. And it was, so it reminded me of that time, and it reminded me of just listening to the music back then. And it's just like, so that's why, it is really, really important that you do show people before the power of J juice, because you keep let's say you are young. Okay, not that young, but let's say you're young enough and you're just kind of playing with J juice. Maybe you're 50 or 60. So, you're playing with J juice back and forth. Of course, Kevin. But you're not showing profound, significant changes to where people in your world see it. Now, I'm not saying that you be fixated that they get it, but it's like, try to reach them before they pass away or contract some really crazy illness that they're not going to want to feel the pain to then reverse their mutation. Okay? So, and this is a personal journey for everybody. This really is. But yeah, that's what we're in for in the next 10 years. So, this protocol is gaining traction, but we're not there yet. It's not mainstream yet because, there's still a lot of people out there that don't believe that humans can live indefinitely under the right conditions. They're still kind of stuck in another paradigm. And some people that are stuck in that paradigm don't care about their health anyways. The ones that say they care about their health, that are trying to live and do the right thing, maybe they might sort of glom onto this once they realize the science behind this, and they might buy into it if they can handle the healing. And then there are some, that are stuck in the conspiracy world. They got out of the matrix, so to speak, and then they knew something was wrong in the matrix. So then they started figuring out what are the things out there that are causing all this damage, and they don't realize how the world is made up of chemistry and periodicals, and that our body is made up of the same kind of elements that are out there in the environment. And so they start compartmentalizing poisons. When you compartmentalize poisons, you are actually distracting from the bigger picture. When you're so focused on fluoride, when you're so focused on vaccines, when you're so focused on the pesticides, when you're so focused on the chemtrails, when you're so focused on the metal or the Wi-Fi that's in this phone, you lose sight of the bigger picture. Because we've been living amongst these types of elements for years, for centuries. It's part of the natural, it's part of our environment. Sometimes you may have a kick up of elements in one area that may upset homeostasis, and then guess what? Things adapt to those changes. Yes, you may see a mutation, and you may see a change in the outside physical structure, but really the living thing, whatever, hasn't really changed innately. Okay? It may have sustained a mutation. Now, if that living thing that sustained a mutation because of the kick up of elements was an intelligent thinking person, it could potentially reverse the mutation. And then reconfigure the structure to where it was back to where it was before. Who's to say that my dog or myself are what we were supposed to be to begin with? Maybe there's still many, many years and layers of mutations that still need to be reversed. Maybe I was meant to be, I don't know, a dude. I don't know. I'm just putting out there for kicks. Maybe my dog was supposed to have been a poodle. Maybe that's what her original supposed to be. I don't know. One day when I wake up, will she be a poodle? I'm like, I don't recognize my dog Sugar. I'm not saying it's going to go that far, but you will see gradually as you do J juice, the mutations peel back, and then the programming peel back. But it means you have to stop compartmentalizing all of the negative elements out there and realize that if truly, truly they wanted to kill you, you would be dead. So now it's time to look at the bigger picture, because it's now time to stop getting lost in the details, because the details, yes, can be the devil, but when you get lost in the details so much, you don't see the bigger picture. And then guess what? Your life is ticking by, and then you pass away, and then you don't really get the basis point of Jeju's. Okay? So since we are on this time type of schedule, and the only way that we know that time is going by is the clock and the calendar, and then your friends that are aging. That's the only substantiation of time. Well, aside from having to be at a place or be at work at a certain time, or having all these deadlines like paying your taxes and all that. Those are the only substantiations of time. But if we didn't have all of those different types of deadlines and calendars and all of that, if we just was like in the mountains and we didn't have any type of integration with society, and all we had was our friends and our family, and that's it, you would see time pass by through how they were aging. Because over time, when you put in, like, I don't know, like a fruit that's on your counter and you don't eat it, you start seeing it start shriveling up. First, it has its great, beautiful luster. It's like juicy and plump and yummy. But then as you see it stay in your basket and you don't touch it, you're seeing now it degrading. You start seeing it like get softer, and you start seeing things grow off of it. You start seeing the mold grow. You start seeing age because it's not getting the nutrients to keep it alive. Okay? So a piece of fruit on a counter sitting for months is no different than watching your friends. That's how you know time is going by, is when you're not reversing the mutations and sustaining the life in that fruit or that friend. Okay? So yeah. So that was like a little bit, it was a trip. It was just a trip this morning, because I'm thinking like, oh my God. I do think about these things because when I do, because when you do listen to music, it like brings you back through time. Hey, Atara. So anyways, I know I kind of got off the track of what I was saying, but the New World Order isn't out to get you. If anything, George Bush back then, he was trying to unify Europe. Yes, he's trying to get the wall down, stopping with the division. I don't know really what happened in 9/11. I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm not even going to speculate. There's mutated people regardless of who it is. There are mutated people on this planet. So if we want to stop with the animal testing, we want to stop with dealing with all of these terrorists of sorts, whether it's homegrown or in another country or extremists, you got to get on J-Juice, because extremism doesn't discriminate. It happens in America. We have extremists in America. So when you're an extremist in any shape, way, or form, in any category, okay, when you're an extremist, that is ripe for actions for vigilantism. And this is what our government does not want to happen. So I really now am re-looking at everything that I thought could potentially be true. Do I know what really truly happened? Was it really the Saudis that came in? Was it the Iraqis? Was it the Bushes? Was it the New World Order? No, who cares? At this point, who cares? It's done by mutated people, by extremists, whoever they are. Anyone that's an extremist in any level has the potential to do things that are really, really extreme. Okay? So even some anti-vaxxers can be construed as terrorist type, extremists. The whole vegan vegetarian can be construed as a type of extremism. All right? Yeah, extremism does not discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're extreme in your points of view, bam. So the enemy isn't out there. The enemy is right next to us, because we're bearing mutated children. That's why you're seeing all these crazy things going on. Whether you think these school shootings are MK Ultra and it's the government planting these children, or whether it's a kid just breaking down because they have a malfunction, it doesn't matter. Somebody that created that MK Ultra is just as extreme and mutated as a person who happens to just snap one day. People do snap. I mean, look what happened to Chris Watts. Do we know if he was an actual plant of the military to test to see and this and that? Or was he somebody that was raised in a family that already had major narcissistic qualities, abusive qualities, and raised a child that had zero empathy, that had no conscience, really? And then this child turned into an adult that was like that. I see it all the time out there. I've seen kids, I've seen parents out there that will probably raise kids that are going to snap one day down the road when they don't get their way. We're raising children like that right now. Okay? So it's not just somebody creating an MK Ultra Manchurian candidate. That may happen, but we also have people in the population that snap as well. Because, yeah, they were abused by their family members, or they were abused in a relationship, or they were raised by some messed up parents that created a monster child that turned into an adult that couldn't handle their emotions. Okay, so, you know, it's no matter what, we have to get balance back. We have to understand why it is we have the government, why we have these agencies, why we have animal testings. If we didn't have mutated people, we wouldn't have to experiment on animals and unsuspecting humans. Okay? So again, we can't legislate morals. So guess what? They have to do these things. If you want cleansers to clean off the chrome or clean off the rust off your chrome, they have to go test these minerals. I'm not even going to say chemicals. I'm going to say minerals to figure out what mineral could come in contact with your skin so it doesn't take it off, but it'll take off rust off your chrome. Okay? Like Simple Green. You know, I mean, I use this dish soap, Dawn, and guess what it does to me? It gives me little, you see those little, it gives me blisters after I use, like, after I play with bleach, like cleaning, and I feel bad because I'm not a lazy person unless I'm wearing gloves, which I haven't really. I mean, I do have gloves. I probably could use gloves, but how long can you wear gloves with a latex powder that doesn't do something to your body too? But yeah, when I wash dishes or when I'm cleaning stuff using certain minerals, it gives me a major skin reaction because my body doesn't like those chemicals. My husband doesn't get a skin reaction, but I do because it's too much of a negative element that's impacting my integumentary system, my skin. So, you know, imagine that if it wasn't tested in biotech, the soap that I use to wash my dishes. Maybe we don't use soap to wash dishes. Maybe we just use chili juice. Maybe we just use chili juice. So we got to make massive amounts of chili juice. Or we use like vinegars, or I don't even want to use vinegars. I mean, see, this is where things kind of get really crazy, okay? So we have to have some kind of testing on some entity to make sure that all the cleansers that we use, even the green ones, so those of you that are all green and environmental and so pro-PETA, well, you're looking for all your green cleansers. They have to test it on an animal or test it on a human. Yeah, latex-free rubber. Yeah, I got to do that. Yeah, but they have to test it on an entity to make sure that it's not going to hurt. Okay? So it's like, what do you do? Right? So, and then that, but again, we can't legislate morals. We can't maybe force people. We can't force people to like say, okay, you know, I'm going to stop mutating my body so that it doesn't warrant animal testing. The guy down the street who's completely diabetic is going to completely think the other way. So now at this point, you just got to do what you got to be the example. So when you're the example, you're not going to really change the guy down the street, but that guy down the street eventually is going to die. Yeah, maybe he has kids. Okay, so it's another generation of children. But remember, generations and life cycles are getting shorter and shorter and shorter as each generation procreates on mutated bodies. So eventually, the ones that are mutated are going to eventually kill off their own genetic family line, because there's going to be more diseases out there mutating. There's going to be more advanced technology doing what it needs to do, and you either adapt or you die, one of the two. So, the balance and Darwin, will always keep everything status quo. Okay? So I'm not too worried about, all of that stuff. I just want to just do the J juice, control my own world. Hopefully my husband will do this every so often, He's my age. Today's his birthday. He just turned 44 today, my husband. Okay, he looks like that guy from Sons of Anarchy. That's why I kind of posted that picture. Because actually his voice when I first met him, reminded me of oh God, what's that guy's name? Sam, that guy that played in Mask. He had the big, thick mustache. Anyway, so my husband has a look that's like a throwback. It's like he could be like a Civil War guy. He could be like the Revolutionary War. And then he could be like, he looks like a motorcycle guy. He has this unique look that's just so like, I don't know, it's just really cool. So, yeah. So anyways, he's turning 44 today. So, hopefully, yeah. Anyways, using, what did you say, Kevin? You said something about water and salt is used after surgery to prevent infection, so you can use that for dishes. I know, right? Well, I could use like the public salt. But seeing the salt, too much salt will dry your hands. So, there's always a balance. So I don't know. I'm sure there is some kind of concoction where it's like oil, salt, and water, right? Oil, because the oil will moisturize, the salt will kill the infection, and the water. I don't know. That could be interesting. I don't know how that chemically would then interact with each other. Yeah, we do have a dishwasher. We do. We just got to get it fixed. It's hard to open up. It's a small little dishwasher. But I don't cook a lot. I only cook when he's home. And then when I cook a lot, now I'm actually just freezing the leftovers because I can't eat leftovers for a week. So, and I don't even eat a lot anyways during the week. But okay, that's it. That's all I have. And you guys just do the J juice. Right, Kathy. Yeah. I might do that, something like that. I don't know, we'll see. But you guys just do the J juice, all right? And really up the dosages. I know it's hard and the healing symptoms are hard, but you get through it. Sam Elliott, thank you, Sam Elliott. Oh, God. I'm telling you, Kathy, his voice, when I first met Jason on the phone, because that's what it was. We first met on a phone app. It was called Fast Flirt. And then we exchanged phone numbers. And then we finally talked on the phone. And I was just like swooning. I was like, oh my God. He has a slow voice. He's not like me where I talk fast because I'm like a salesperson. Oh no, he's from the Midwest, rural Ohio type of thing, but living in Canton and everything, and just has a slow voice. Really slow, and it's deep. It's deep. He has a deep voice. So yeah, he's definitely a fox. He'll turn into a silver fox, but I want him to reverse those silvers in his hair. Jeez. But anyways, we'll see what happens. All right, so you guys have a good day. I'm gonna do my thing, and And yeah, so to keep doing J juice, juggle all of your stuff, make short-term goals and then long-term goals, and take inventory of all of your healing so you know how far you've come. Remember what issues you had years and years and years ago. And so that way you can say, oh, okay, so this system got taken care of. And also too, oh yeah, J juice is like triage. Okay, I'm going to make this analogy that's going to be very, very appropriate. Jelly juice is triage. So when you go to the emergency room and let's say you have a life-threatening issue, they're going to see you before they see all the guys in there, their broken legs and lacerations and all that, right? So when you do J juice, the most severe thing that you have in your body that you could potentially die from is going to get dealt with right off the bat. Like right off the bat, because the body doesn't want to kill you while it's healing. That's not the point of nutrition and electrolytes. Okay? So if since you can't predict the future, yeah, you can do a titer test to see all of the different antibodies that are in your body, but you don't know which one of those antibodies are going to be the thing that's going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. You don't know. I mean, they don't give you accounts. They just say either you're positive or negative for a specific issue. So you don't know what weaknesses you have in your body. You don't know. You may have certain red flags here and there, but you really truly don't know how severe one of your systems is until you experience a major event. Sometimes those major events are death. So some of you won't know how severe your situation is until you die, but you won't know. Your friends know, oh gosh, you died from a heart attack. Oh yeah, died from a stroke. Okay, so that was a pretty severe condition that people weren't taking care of. But when you have an event like, let's say you have an autoimmune disorder, or let's say you have a major headache, migraines all the time. Well, that is a major red flag that there is a major malfunction that, who knows, it could be an aneurysm setting itself up for the future. It could be a stroke setting itself up for the future. You don't know, but those red flags should tell you. Okay, so when you do J juice, it's like triage. The body's going to prioritize what it needs to take care of first, because that way they know, first of all, you have to even, well, yeah, I mean, if you can't even, like, if it's hard for you to digest J juice right off the bat, if it's hard for you to even get it down your throat, that's probably the most severe. If you can't even take in nutrition right off the bat easy and have it go through all the way into your gut to push out the poop, that's what it has to do first. Because that means that you're so stopped up and you're so like constipated, and not so much even in your digestive system, but constipated in your lymph nodes. If you're that constipated, then you're going to have to take J juice little by little to clear a path all the way through your system out your ass. And you got to push that shit, literally and figuratively, out of your body. And that is probably the most severe if you can't even get certain foods down. If you can only get in foods that are not good for you or liquids, I mean, what kind of liquids are you taking? Are you going to be, even if you are liquefying vegetables, you got mutations. If you can't even digest food, you have mutations. So that's not even helping you if you're on a liquid diet all the time. Okay? So doing J juice is like triage to your body. So if you start feeling headaches right off the bat when you're doing J juice, and this is not an antibiotic, J juice is not antibiotic, it's a probiotic, so it's not harmful. It means that it's repairing something in your brain or something that could potentially do you in the future, or a major event that would then have you half paralyzed. So if those of you who say, oh, I'm so healthy, I challenge you, do J juice and see what hurts first. I challenge you. Some of you who say that you're so healthy, you're not very healthy. And only you will know that. You don't have to broadcast your business across the world, but you will know how healthy or how sick you are when you do J juice, because your body will tell you, your body will hold you accountable. Since J juice is not harmful, your body will tell you exactly what systems really need worked on first. You're not going to have everything reversed in like a month, but the first thing that you feel right off the bat is the most priority because it's the most severe. So do J juice. And then if you stop, and if you plateau, but you're still aged and you still have issues, you're still obese, you're still this, you're still that, then you got to up the dosages. Drink water, of course, but you got to up your game. If you're doing a quart a day and you're really not seeing too much of a difference, then maybe you need to, on a weekend, do a gallon in one day in a short amount of time. I can do 3/4 of a gallon in like 15 minutes. And then I waterfall, I get really thirsty, drink more waterfalls, get thirsty, drink more waterfalls, get thirsty, and drink more waterfalls. And then bam, then I go and relax. I've done a workout, so to speak. Okay, and then you go back to so you upset homeostasis because the body adapts when you have a lot of mutations and you're drinking only a certain amount of nutrition a day, and then you also have parasites and fungus also wanting to survive. They don't want to die, and they see that you're only doing a quart a day and you don't see any kind of pain or healing or anything, then it's adapting to those conditions. It found a way to deal with the poisons itself. Like the parasites and the fungus will look at J juice as a poison because it's countering them. They're the ones that are the invaders. So then you got to reinforce your army, okay? You got to go and bring the trucks in to reinforce and feed your army because your army depleted. You need to keep up in the game to then increase the healing, to push out the critters, repair the damage, get your cancer under control. All right. So it's always a constant battle until you see the specific measurable result, which is reversing the aging process. And then all of the cancer, disease, and chronic illness will get addressed during that process. See, aging is cell degradation. It is your body breaking down. And that's why cancer, disease, and chronic illness are part of the aging process, because they are breaking your body down, depleting your supplies. Because now you're feeding the enemy, you're feeding the cancer and the parasites. Okay, so you got to stop multiplying those cells and start multiplying your own cells. Keeping the balance. All right. Gotta go. Take care. Jilly Juice, JILLYJUICE.com. Get the book. And then Kevin is still feverishly writing his portion of the book. He has 150 pages. Oh, Lord, that's going to be a long weekend for me or a long week to read all that. But that's good because he's going to make sure it's so thorough for all of you. Okay? So that way you feel comfortable doing this protocol if it's something that you're not sure about. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Thanks. Bye.